Hi grade 4, welcome to our first lesson of Recorder this term. Today we're going to have a fun one because it's not hard, it's not long, but it's got 3 different parts. Meaning if you got 2 friends who can play Recorder the way you can easily form a trio. We've been looking a lot at duets, but this term we have trios. Sometimes even have a quartet. I don't think we go to a quintet when we're playing Recorder in our books, but we're definitely going to do a trio. So if you pay attention, you can see there's a grand staff, meaning we've got our main melody and 2 harmonies. This second line is harmony number 1. This third line is harmony number 2. So melody, harmony 1, harmony 2. That does not mean you play this line, then you go to this line, you go to this line. No, that means if you have 2 friends that are playing with you, the first friend can play the first harmony, which is the second line, and your other friend can play the second harmony, which is the third line. And you'll be playing the first melody, which is that line. So, to make it more practical, let me play it for you so you can hear how it sounds. Alright, so now that we've heard how it sounds like when we're 3 people playing together, let's look at each line bit by bit so that whichever line you end up doing with your friends, you'll be able to do it good. So let's go ahead and zoom into the music. So we're going to start off with line number 1, and we're going to move quite quickly so we can be able to do all 3 lines without this being so long. Alright, so let's start off with line number 1. We have G, G, then we start descending from a D, C, B, G. But before we even get there, let's start off by reading our rhythm. 1, 2, 3, go. Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, 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 ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, ti, 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 ta, ta. Your turn. Let's go right now. Alright, so now let's slow it down and let's play it bar by bar. We only have 4 bars. In your book, you'll notice you have 2 different lines, but I've put it all together, so don't let that confuse you. Starting off with bar 1, G, G, D, C, B. Ready? Go. Again, a bit slower. Let's go for bar number 2, G, G, A, G, D, D. Ready? Go. Go. Let's put bar 1 and bar 2 together of line 1. Ready? Go. Go. Alright, bar number 3. We have G, G, D, C, B. The exact same thing that we had in bar 1. So bar 1 and bar 3 are exactly the same. So let's try bar 3 because we already know it. Ready? Go. But bar 4 stays on that B. B, B, A, G, G. Let's go for bar 4. Now, these 2 dots at the end mean we repeat. So just because you played it once doesn't mean you finish it. You have to play it once and then you play it twice. Alright, so 2 times in total. So let's try play bar 1 up until 4 twice of line 1. Okay? So line 1, when we reach the end, we start again. Ready? Go. And that's line number 1. Let's go ahead to line number 2. This is our first harmony. So let's start off and let's see where the difference is. Starting off with our first two notes, we have a difference in pitch, meaning this note is not at the same level as this note. So we're starting off on a D, and we're still going down from a D all the way to a G. The rhythm, however, is still the same for this bar. It's still ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Same thing here, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. Let's actually try and read the second line and tell me if you can find out where the different rhythms lie. You should be able to even find it just by looking. Ready? 2, 3, line 2. Ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, ti, 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 ta, 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 ti, ti, ta, 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 ah. Ready? By yourself? Let's go. All right. Can you find where the different rhythms are between line number 1 and line number 2? I see one in the second bar because we have an extra pair of eighth notes right here. Where I said it was ti, 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 ta. Here it's ti, 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 ta. Over here we have the same rhythm, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta. But bar number 4 we have a ta, 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 ah. Whereas bar number 1 we had ti, 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 ta, ta. All right, so let's start it off. Starting off with bar number 1 of line 2. We have a D, C, B, A, G. So just going from D all the way down to G. Ready? Go. Again. Let's now go to bar number 2 of line number 2. We go to that B, B, C, B, A, G. All right, so this one, it moves very quick. B, B, C, B, A, G, A. Let's try this 2 pairs of eighth notes in line number 2 of bar number 2. Ready? Go. Again. By yourself. B, B, C, B. Let's add that. A, G, A. Ready? Go. Again. Now notice the pattern. In bar number 3 again, regardless of the line, it's the exact same notes as bar number 1. So anytime you've learned bar number 1, you've learned bar number 3. That means you've literally learned 50% of either line. So let's go from bar 1 to bar 3, knowing that bar 3 is the same as bar 1. Ready? Go. So now let's see if we can do the whole thing twice. Ready? 2, 3, let's go. So that one, D, F sharp, G. Ready? 2, 3, let's go. Remember, when you get to those low notes, nice and little breath. Otherwise, it'll be super squeaky, and we don't like that. All right, let's go to our second harmony, which is line number 3. Starting off, we have a difference in our first bar rhythm. But if you notice, as I said here, bar 1 and bar 3 exactly the same. So we have D, E, D. D, E, D. Let's read the rhythm for line number 3. Ready? 2, 3, let's go. Ta, 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 ah, ta, ta, ti, ti, ta, 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 ti, 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 ta. Your turn. Let me hear you read the rhythm for line number 3. Ready, 2, 3, let's go. Alright, so let's start off by playing bar number 1 of line 3. So D, E, D, E. Ready, 2, 3, let's go. D, E, D. Remember to use a little breath for those D's and those E's. And remember, D was all our fingers. E is when we have the 2 fingers up here, these 2. And F sharp is when we have the bottom 2. Please don't use this finger down here and then bring it up here. Each finger has to have its own hole. It can't go from this finger can't go here, and this finger comes here, and then this finger is still over here. That doesn't work. They each have to have their own hole. Alright, so let's go for bar number 2 of line number 3. We have a D, D, F sharp, D, G. Alright, so a big move right there. From the F sharp to the D, then to the G. So let's try it nice and slow. Bar 2 of line 3. Ready? Go. Again. Slower. Let's do bar 1 and bar 2 of line 3. Ready? Go. Bar 3, exact same as bar 1. Let's go for it. Now let's look at bar 4. We have a bunch of leaps from a G to a D, from an F sharp to a D, then we finish on a D. So let's try that. G, D. Ready? Go. Again. Now let's try F sharp, D. Put these 2 eighth notes together. Go. Again. Then finish on that, low D. Go. Let's take the whole of line 3 one time, and then we'll do it 2 times over. Ready? Go. Alright, so now let's try line number 3 2 times. So that means we're just following the repeat. Ready? Go. And that's our second harmony, line number 3. Alright, grade 4, so that's how we play Old Joe Clark. Remember, if you need the sheet music, it will be on Facts. But if you don't have a printer at home, which I really advise that you do print out your music sheets, because if there's no electricity, there's no Wi-Fi, if your parents aren't home, you still have your piece of paper. Doesn't matter, unless someone eats that piece of paper, if your dog eats it. Don't let your dog eat your homework. Same excuse people have been giving since the 1970s. It should be there in 2022. Alright, so make sure you print it out. It will be on Facts. If you need help printing it out, tell your class teacher and they'll get it printed for you. But it's really helpful to have it in front of you, so you're not just reading off of the screen, but you have something that you can constantly practice with. So have fun practicing Old Joe Clark. When you get it good, find 2 friends that you can play along with. Practice it together. See if you can all play each of you having a different part, and if you can play it all twice, and you will play it for me when I come and see you. So have fun practicing and do it well. See you next time, grade 4.